When you go to the Mountaineers website, the home page will look something like this, where you have the top navigation bar where my mouse cursor is. Obviously, like the Mountaineers logo acts as a home button for you to from navigating from any page to the home page. The other navigation options on this bar is Mountaineers Books. When you click on that, that will take you to the bookstore with all the options for the books and magazines and things like that. Today, I'm not going to cover that, but let's go over the other options, which are activities, where you can find activities, route descriptions, and trip reports for various destinations. Under courses, you can find courses, clinics, seminars, which I'll talk a little bit more today. And then obviously like some volunteer opportunities and other things associated with it. And then we have conservation and volunteer. Under volunteer, you might see some of the things that most instructors and leaders have information for, and yeah, find ways of finding other volunteer positions or options for you to sign up. The other things that you might see is obviously the donate button. It's a volunteer-led organization, so we run by your support. Login credentials button, and there's one more thing which is more. When you move your mouse over it, you will see other options to look at. The most important or two things over here which might be of interest is membership and the locations. Under membership, if you click on that, you will see some of the COVID responses guidelines that Mountaineers is following, and the member benefits, which might be useful for you to like buying gear and other things, and also like other options of like what are the badges I'm interested in getting and how to get them, or scholarships to support you financially as well. Under locations, if you click on that, you will see like different branches, so you can learn about different branches and what they're up to and things like that. Also, you can get to know, or if you want to use one of our lodges, that's where you find that. So having said that, I want to go a little bit more on the home page. The other things that you might see on the home page is like latest update on the blog. Most importantly, since you are climbers, sometimes like even without you being on a trip, you might want to know like how the trips are going and things like that, so trip reports might be helpful. So this is one of the areas where you can see all the trips being posted. Granted that this is populated based on like any kind of trip report being posted, so it could be hiking, scrambling, climbing. So it highlights the activity first and then ifun followed by the destination, so you can click on that or click on more and find all the trip reports. um, so so that's how the home page looks. As I said earlier, the Mountaineers is run by volunteers, and which is primarily producing two types of things, which is activities and courses. Activities is more like trips, and courses is a combination of lectures, field trips. It could be also be a seminar, a single day event, or a clinic, which is like practicing skills trip. So those are the things. You can select the category and click find and things like that. But to going on to the login credentials, if I click on that, since all of you are members now, you should be able to have your login credentials. So once you log in, you're obviously you have multiple options under that same area where the login button was, which shows your profile, your activities, and things like that. So a couple of things that I want to highlight over here is under my profile, activities, courses, and those are the things that I will be more focused today. So going to my profile. And by the way, sometimes the Mountains website is a little slow, so please be patient. Uh, so when you go to Mountains, your member profile, you will see your profile. Obviously, you can edit your photo if you wanna let your leaders know that what you look like, and obviously you can edit this profile. So I just want to talk about a little bit on that. So when you want to edit your profile, obviously like this, there's some demographic information, your bio, things like that. Couple of things that you might be wanting to look at or be interested in is alerts and notifications. Sometimes you might be interested in like, hey, I want to know like when the first aid class being is being posted, or navigation being is being posted, or stewardship is being posted. So I will probably like say like, hey, I want to know it as soon as possible, or in a daily digest or something like that. Typically as soon as possible means like you might receive a lot of emails, but depending on the type of activity you choose, if you're saying like I want to know like every climb whatever is being posted, then it might be too many emails, right? But anyways, so let's say like I'm interested in stewardship activity. So whenever there is an activity of stewardship being posted, I want to be alerted. And then I want to say like with Seattle branch, or like you can say like with whatever branches you might be interested to help out with, um, and select those. And then courses like, yeah, I want to know first aid. Not only just first aid, I want to know wilderness first aid, right? Or maybe not. So first aid, navigation, right? Since you are all interested in that, and I want to know about this from Seattle branch, I'm okay with joining that on Everett. Maybe, or maybe not. Or Tacoma is also fine with me. Uh, you know, um, so that increases my opportunities or chances of getting into a course, or looking at most of the options and seeing when I'm available with, and obviously saving that thing, right? So this will give you alert, as I said, like I'm selected as soon as possible, as soon as they are added. So yeah, so I will get notification when they are added, and once I get that notification, I can click on the course link and or the seminar link, and then I can see like when the registrations are open, so that I could like make a calendar event or a alert on my calendar saying that, hey, remind me on this date this time that registrations are open for, let's say, wilderness first aid. uh, and yeah, when my calendar alerts me, I go onto the link and I could register. As this is one of the tricks that most people use, because all the registrations that we do does not involve applications, such as wilderness first aid and navigation, which is like first come first serve. So, and these are very popular ones, so people tend to like miss out the time and not get into the course, and they just end up being having to like add it as a wait list. So this is one of the tricks that people use, so might be useful. The other things that I want to say is, whenever you register for a course or some things like that, under my courses you should be able to see your list of courses that you are registered for. And when you click on that link, basically you could see like, hey, these are my upcoming courses, these are my past courses if you have taken some, right? And for each courses, like there's like likely a role, like you are a student or you are an instructor or you are a leader of that course, and whether you're registered, it's whether it's pending, whether it's waitlisted, things like that. And once you have graduated from that course, or once the course is completed, you can see statuses in the past where courses move in the past area or history area, and that one as like a role as like whether you have graduated or whether you are just as a student, right? And things like that. So that helps out people to know, yeah, your status of the course, whether you have been graduated from that course or not. Um, so obviously this is one of the places where you could access your course page all the time. So for us, this is alpine climbing course. So when I want to go to my courses and click on alpine climbing course, then I'll go to my home page. I don't have to always find through other avenues, which could be time consuming at times. So by clicking on that alpine climbing course, I could go onto that page. And now as you see, like I now am on like alpine climbing course page. I'll take a little bit talk about how the courses are set up, how the template looks like for each course page or seminar page. You will see something similar, like their date, which committee is hosting it. As I said, like it's run by volunteers, all the activities and courses. So and each course might be from a different committee which is running that. So like navigation as their own committee, First year courses have their own committee, so each are independent group of volunteers. So please be aware to who to contact to, right? When you're on a course page, the easiest way to find out who to contact to is scrolling it down and trying to find out contacts information over here. If you can't see that, and then click on the roster, once it populates you will see like leaders under the roster, and then you can select those and figure out their email address to contact that person, right? As I said, Mountaineers page sometimes is a little bit slow, so please be patient. And good thing to know is whenever you click on it, make sure that there's some kind of a spinning wheel attached to it, or at times when you're moving from page to page, your browser may show you that it's waiting on connection, or it's updating on the bottom left corner. So that gives you an indication of not to double click, or not to resend your applications twice or thrice. But anyways, over here, when you click on the roster, I see Jan listed as a leader for basic climbing, and you can definitely click on that and find out his email details and all that stuff comes with it. So now the other things that you might know from this course page is obviously what the cost is, whether how can I apply for scholarship, the links for scholarships, right? How many spots are available. Sometimes some of the courses or seminars have leader spots available, so if you're eligible for that and if you want to help out, that's how you know the difference between the spots for leaders and students. And obviously every course page, if they're having some amount to be paid, you need to know about cancellation policy and refund policy. If you so there are few things that you should know about cancellation, since it is run by volunteers, and if you were a leader of particular course or an activity, you would be appreciating if somebody lets you know earlier. So same goes as the other way around. If you are as a student registering for a course or a seminar, you should be letting us know as soon as you are aware of that, hey, I cannot make this, which is mostly acceptable. The reasons for that is the leaders have to plan around number of students who are attending, so that at times, for example, the field trips or on trips, it is very much dependent on what the student to climb leader ratio is, and sometimes it is very tight fitted and it's not that flexible. So having known that earlier on gives the leader opportunity to manage that properly, or if he needs another person to be added, he can definitely try to reach out and add the person. So something to keep in mind. The other things that you might be seeing and you should be reading is the description, which is mostly over here, and most of the times as I clicked on that more button, you should be doing that and read through all the details, because this is where leaders of the courses, seminars and activities will try to express what they are expecting to provide, what this is all about. And yeah, so please be thoughtful about it and read through that before taking any actions. And for taking any actions, obviously there will be a registration button and things like that, so I'll go over that a little bit later on. But as I'm over here, and you all are already registered for this course, you could see when you go onto the alpine climbing course page, manage registration button, and this will be helpful for you going forward when you're trying to update your registration status for activities like lectures, field trips and things like that. When you click on manage button, there's a spinning wheel, which is great to see, and then there's lots of activities listed out, right? And you could then update which ones you don't want to attend or which one you can attend. And sometimes it will definitely say that, hey, there's a conflict, that you have some other activity that you have registered for, and so you cannot sign up for this activity. So you will have to go back to the activity which you are signed up for, cancel that if you are planning on attending this lecture particularly, and select that and join, right? Things like that. So this way you can keep track of your registration status. So now going back to my the other thing that I want to talk about under profiles was my activities. So another way to access that is under my name. I can see my activities, go to that, and there you can see all the activities that you are registered for: lectures, field trips, you know, um, clinics and things like that. And you can also use these options over here to say like, hey, I just want to see like what trips I have been registered to. You can click on that and see like, hey, these are the two trips I'm registered to. um, and then if you want to see like only the course materials that I'm registered to, okay, I can see that like, hey, let me make sure that I'm um, the other thing that I could mention is like, this is good to see like what is there, but sometimes like people have different various avenues of reminding themselves, since you may register for courses and lectures like months before, and it could be easier to forget those things, especially if you are not keeping a track of like of your emails. Most of the readers will try to send an email out around the week before the activity, or sometimes few days before, since they are under the impression that you already know that you have signed up for this, and that's a kind of an expectation when you register for it, right? So one thing I do which might be useful is I export, hey, this date I have this seminar that I'm attending, or this date I put it on my calendar that I'm going on a trip doing this. So, and on my calendar obviously I see my reminders and then say like, okay, when I'm planning my week ahead of the time, I can see like what I'm planning to do, and obviously be prepared for it, right? So yeah, so those are the things that I wanted to share from my profile. Let's go on to the home page again. Alrighty, so now I want to talk to you about like finding courses, finding stewardship activities, or registering for skills night, registering for climbing conditioner trips, which will be useful for you to like get fitter and conditioned for your summer climbs, and also like finding climbing trips. How do you do that? So let's start with like finding courses. So obviously like there are two options. I can click on the top navigation bar courses and click on find courses, or I could select the category of the course over here. Let's say I'm trying to like find first aid courses. I click on first aid and I click on finding courses. So it should take me to those courses which are already categorized, right? And the page opens up where it says like, these are all the first aid courses being offered, and quickly enough you will see like, hey, this is a first aid course, this is first responder course, and then there's a first aid course. There's a difference between that, and obviously I'll let you dig into that by yourself, but the few things that are highlighted over here for you is, what's the availability? Is it full? Are the spots available? How much is the wait list? And don't be shy to like sign up on the wait list, because obviously people try to like be upfront and do like first come first serve registration, and they might pick multiple courses sometimes, or sometimes they just want to register and then they figure out like they're not no longer available or can do the commitment level for that particular activity or a course, and they might cancel. So we have seen like waitlist bumps up, and people who are like waitlist number 10 or 15 could actually get in. So don't be afraid on getting on the waitlist. And obviously it says like it's hosted by what branch and who is the leader, right? So branch helps you to like see like if there are in-person activities to like, what can I do? Can I attend Seattle, Tacoma area, whatever I'm good with, right? So you can pick and choose. Hey, I cannot do Everett. I can do Seattle and foothills. So what I can do is, if you on the left navigation vertical bar over here, you will see multiple options. Obviously there's a search over here which you can type in like whatever the title of the course you might be interested in. There are obviously these toggle buttons which I showed you on the previous homepage, where I chose one of these categories to get to this page, and pretty much you can do this over here and change the first aid to navigation and things like that. The other things is you might be interested in knowing like only courses or clinics. So what's the difference between a course and a clinic? Course is like a combination of lectures and field trips mostly, and clinic is like a one-day activity where skills are taught to you, right? And a seminar is something where it's kind of a lecture format, and it's a one-off thing. It's not a combination of things that you it will lead to graduation for that particular thing. So courses is a combination of that, all the things. And then obviously you can choose now, like as I said, like I want to like be focused on Seattle and foothills. So one little thing about the website is every time you click on one of the options, you have to wait until the results are populated. So something to keep in mind. And then okay, I said like okay, Seattle and foothills. So I've selected those. And against the branches, you can see these numbers in the parentheses also at the tops in other categories, and those are like the number of options you might see. So now I have all the list from Seattle and foothills, and I can see like which dates they are. I can also like filter those dates, but these is like you if you do that, then you will not know what the courses are offered on those dates. So I kind of don't do that and try to see like, oh, this is a list and these are the dates they are offered. I can pretty much go onto that course page and see if they have listed any activities. If not, then I might contact that person and say like, hey, I'm interested in this course. I know registration is coming up, but I'm interested in like what dates actually the activities are on and things like that. And especially I will only reach out to that person if it is all not mentioned in the course description. As I said, we want to be cautious about volunteers, people like volunteers in general. Although like all the leaders are very happy to like respond and things like that, they could be sometimes overwhelmed with like too many emails. So whatever they're trying to mention, please try to follow that. Like most of the times they are pretty proactive in mentioning what the expectations are. So yeah, and this is how I now obviously like I know how to find first aid. Similar thing goes with like navigation. I can select navigation, but I have to wait until the results populate and then uncheck the first aid. So I have to kind of do it 2 times. Yeah. So now I can see like navigation. Sometimes it's very important. Like this one is winter travel trip planning, and it is included in navigation, but it doesn't offer any badges. So if you click on that, you might see different. So you have to be very cautious about like to know like which is the one that I'm really interested in. So there's another one that's called as Introduction to Map and Compass, which is also a good course for beginners, but it's not the course that we are satisfied with our climbers to take and be self-sufficient. So the courses that we are interested, we I would rather say the courses that our students should take is the wilderness navigation, such as like this course. And you can see wilderness navigation is offered by Foothills, also listed over here as Foothills branch, things like that. Alrighty, so we talked about first aid and navigation. Let's talk about how do I find out stewardship activities, right? So stewardship is not a course or a seminar or a clinic, right? Because it's not an instructional thing. It's more of a volunteer help in the public places where you're trying to improve some trails or a gardening or a setup, things like that. So let's see, like, so it's an activity. So I want to go and click find activities for that. And once it's trying to get populated all the results, then right now it might be populating all of the activities since I have not filtered it out. So that's one of the key things, like from the home page, when you navigate select one of the categories from the home page, it directly takes you to those categories alone. But now when I click from the top navigation bar, it asks to list all the things first, and then it will ask you to like filter out. So that's kind of little one of the niches for the website. But so now I want to go to like, and then I can select like, hey, let me select stewardship over here, and it's listed out like the 3 activities that I'm looking, which have been scheduled. There you go. I can see all of them, and I can see like, hey, these things are available. It's on December 7th. Am I available on December 7th? And then if I am, let me see, it's a half day. Okay, what is the timings that they're asking us to like be available for, and like things, more details for before you sign up. And if you have any questions, like always reach out to the leader, right? If it is not mentioned on the activity page. One thing to note is for stewardship badge to be awarded, it's a total of 8 hours, and you might see half day activities being listed, so which encourages more people to like commit to a smaller part of the day. But in order to get a full stewardship credit, it has to be 8 hours, so which means you might have to do 2 off days to get the full one stewardship badge. So please be wary about it, and make sure that you get those two activities if it's like a half day activity, right? Alrighty. So now the other thing I wanted to touch base was like climbing conditioner, which you might be looking for, like going out, like meeting other students and like going on a hike and trying to improve your fitness, right? So the other thing that you might be thinking over here to click is I'm interested in climbing activities, and then uncheck stewardship. Alrighty, now you can see all the climbing activities that have been listed, such as instructor reviews and everything. Once you select that, but then you have to find out where the conditioner is, such as like this one, climbing conditioner, Poo Poo Point via Chirico Trail. So this is the one I am interested in joining, and I can see like it's from Seattle branch. And then it's led by Dan Greenfield. So one thing to note is sometimes these climbing conditioners are posted only for a particular SIG, there might be some restrictions like that, so please honor those restrictions before you reach out to the leader. They might say like I'm opening these restrictions for example, they might say like this is restricted to only XYZ SIG, which might be your SIG leader might be doing that or something like that, so that it favors your SIG particularly to go and group together as much as possible. But when you are looking out for other people hosting those kind of conditioner trips, you might be you should be honoring those restrictions. And most people will say like this is open to this SIG, but after this date it will be open to everybody. If the spots are available, please sign up, right? So such as for this one, climbing conditioner Poo Poo Trail, let me click on that. Alrighty, so we are on this climbing conditioner page now, and you can see like the easier, it says like beginning conditioner hike on a easy trail. So and then there are like meeting place and time, there are no leader notes, like availability is 10, none of the spots are taken yet, so great. You can probably, and it says like registration will open on December 15th at 6 a.m. So I might like, hey, on my calendar I'm interested in this as registration. I put it on my calendar basically like, hey, register for Poo Poo Point Trail hike on December 15th 6 a.m. Yeah, and then when I come to it, you will see a registration button which you can sign up for. Sometimes when it says like please leaders permission only or things like that, then it should give you that request permission button over here. If it doesn't, then reach out to the leader, click on that, find their email address and send them an email. So that's how you would find stewardship activities and conditioners. Similar way you can also find climbing trips, same way as we did conditioners. It's the same thing that you will be doing. You will be like finding activities and then checking the box for climbing, and under climbing you will see basic climbs, basic glacier climb, basic rock climb, such as for now, like let me check box on climbing. And right now there's like top rope ice, which is not we are eligible for. Basic alpine climb castle, yeah, I'm eligible for that. But this is done like December, which I will not be ready for it. So you might want to say like I'll be only done with my course in June sometime, so I can select my date. Okay, all right, so now you can see I've changed my date to like 2022 summer. I can select which branch I should be going out with if needed. Some branches trips are open, but like as I said, like you have to honor the restrictions sometimes. So here is where all the trips are being listed, and I'm only interested in basic glacier, basic rock for the most part of it. Basic alpine is good to go out on, and register for that as an experience because it covers some glaciers, some rock in the same trip. But the rock portion might not be enough to qualify as a basic rock trip. As a graduation requirement for our basic students, we ask them to do one glacier and one rock trip as a standalone thing, and Alpine does develop them into different avenues for furthering their knowledge and experience, but a basic glacier and a basic rock is what the requirement is. So you might be looking out for that particularly. But most often, like as the course lead has already mentioned, that we are expecting our SIG leaders to post one glacier and two rock field trips, not field trips, but the trips for you. So reach out to your SIG leader and see what they have in their plans, and then check in with them on a particular date. If they say like, hey, we'll be only posting those trips in April or May and things like that, so coordinate and make sure you are flexible enough to like be available for those dates if possible. Let's say I am interested in joining this trip, right? Basic glacier climb, Whitman. So I click on that, and as I was talking about course pages, this activity page or a trip page also has some details that you should be paying attention to, such as the synopsis over here says like trip prioritized for climbing kids app climbers and friends, but others can check in with the leader. Okay, great. I understand that this is more prioritizing people from a smaller community so that they can be doing much more better networking and more options for them to climb. So I appreciate people doing that, as I'm also expecting my SIG leader, and will be great to have our own leaders do that for our own small groups, right? Yeah, so in that case, if I am interested, I can find the leader, right? And this time, before doing that, yeah, so I can reach out to the leader and then send him an email, and if he says yes, so what I could do to register is, you can see this checkbox, and but this is very important and critical to only check this box when you have received a leader's permission to join. As it says over here, the leader of this trip is as explicitly given me permission to register, and I understand that I may be permanently deleted from the roster if I sign up without that permission, right? So this is done by the leader, and he expects you to follow that steps, so that he can pretty much monitor who is joining on his trip. So some people do this, some leaders don't do that, but we should be very aware and respect those things. So please be cautious about that before registering. The other details that you might be looking out for before asking a request is when it is, what type of climb it is, right? Whether any date and time is set up, right? Typically for trips, like you might be seeing like TBDs or to be announced by email and things like that, and in those cases pretty much open to interpretation that you should be available for the entire day. Don't make any plans in the evening and things like that. And then sometimes leaders do have some notes over here like, hey, I'm expecting a particular pace. Sometimes they do mention over here like in one of the paces, but if that is not listed out over there, they might mention that we are going to have a casual pace or an easy pace or a moderate pace of 2 miles per hour on hiking trails, and a little bit slower and on climbs we should try to reach out to like 800 feet per hour of vertical gain. So there might be a few things. It's important to like read out those things, right? And obviously the other things that I want to say is, on every trip page you will see this route/place tab, which basically gives you, when you click on that full route and place details, it will take you to a page with all the route descriptions. So let's wait for that page to open up, and as you can see, like, okay, this is a place for all the trips to Mini Crest, and it talks about how to get there, what's a drive trip might look like, what the approach might look like. Sometimes approaches kind of combined with ascent routes, but anyways, the approach, they give you the approach description, and it is similar to like WTA trail descriptions, but it's much more depending upon what type of trip it is. You also get more descriptions on like the ascent routes on a particular climb. Like it could be a rock climb, it could be a glacier climb, and they talk about those things, such as for over here, like this mini crest trail approach takes you to like three different peaks. It could be Little Tahoma, it could be Mini Whitman Crest, or it could be K Spire. And I know like my trip was to Whitman Crest, so I'm interested in this. But if your trip was to Little Tahoma, you might be interested in that. And then obviously descent routes, what is like the expected elevation gain, and what's the time that typically that people have been following, or have been doing these trips on an average. So an expectation for you to like look out for whether you are eligible and fit enough, and whether this is within your reach to do it, right? And yeah, we all have to be honest, this is like a honor system when you sign up, because sometimes the leaders may not know you, and it's useful to check yourself before signing up whether it's within my capable limits, right? Yeah, so that's that. And then obviously, if there are any permit requirements uh, for that particular route, right? If there is requirement, you might reach out to leader and say like, hey, do we have permits, or how are we trying to get those permits? Going back to the same trip page again, there's a roster tab, which obviously lists out the leaders and whoever is joining, so you can see like who the people are. The other tab is like required equipment. Sometimes these things are pretty standard from a template, and some leaders may update it, some leaders may not update it. It is a good practice though, to go through it and make sure that nothing is off what you are expecting the trip might look like. So sometimes if they say like, hey, bring two ice axes, like, hey, this is not what I'm interested in doing, or that is not what I am capable of, so that throws a little bit, should throw you off. And then say like, hey, like I read the route description, but your equipment requirement says like two ice axes, like what is the intention over here, what is the expectation from the participant on your trip. So you can send that email out to the leader, and then they can explain that, or they can say like, hey, that's a mistake, let me correct that, right? So and trip reports also can be found under the route description page. So if I go there again, so now I'm on that page, and I will scroll down, and you can see like, hey, there's a map, I can see where it is, upcoming activities, right? And then there are trip reports. So once it spins its own wheel and gives me all the trip reports. And that's about it for today. I want to touch base, so thank you for listening.